Good evening, Yali Medeth and bienvenue. Thank you so much for joining us for a celebration of excellence in arts and sports. I'm Zahra Premji, coming to you from the stunning Ismaili Center, Vancouver, here in beautiful British Columbia.
And I'm Faizal Khamisa, joining you from the breathtaking courtyard at the Aga Khan Museum in Toronto.
And we're honored to be your co-host for what promises to be a magical night as we celebrate the phenomenal talent in our Jamaat. So grab a cup of chai or hey, even some bone broth if you're feeling fancy.
I think I'll just stick with a double-double. So, how's everyone doing? Doesn't exactly work the same here. All right, well, let's get this show rolling.
Good idea. We've got a jam-packed evening ahead. No time to waste, Faizal.
While 2023 may feel like a decade ago, it was just a few months ago, and we were all together at the Illume festivals. From the regional qualifiers held across Canada to the national festivals that took place in Hamilton last August and in Toronto this past November, there was no shortage of inspiring stories that came out of Illume 2023.
And this evening, we will share who will be representing Canada in the visual arts and film categories at the Global Encounters Festival. We know that many of you have been eagerly awaiting this moment.
We'll also have a chance to take a glimpse into the inspiring journeys of our visual artists and filmmakers and discover their creative process and artistic inspirations. But before we reveal the names, let's first take a look back at some of the most memorable moments from Illume 2023.
Let's go, get ready, ready to give it all, whether we stand or fall. This is the time of our lives, time of our lives, time of our lives, time of our lives. And we get to play a flag so high, adrenaline feeling so alive. These faces we see tell stories of our history.
با هم باشیم ای دوستان یک صدا و یک جمال.
یک بندی کهانی هر صفحه به نئی بازی.
من آفرینش را آشکار میکنم.
On my incredible journey, proud of myself, I am worthy.
And I take a deep breath. Get ready, set.
Here we go, we're ready, ready to live our dreams like the of every day. Let's go, get ready, ready to give it all, whether we stand or fall. This is the time of our lives, time of our lives, time of our lives, time of our lives. And we can play.
Come together, A, stand as one, A. We fight, we dance, we're strong, let kingdom come, bang the drum. We're celebrating ourselves this time we run through it like a finish line, no thought left to ponder, not a moment to squander. See the fountain of youth becoming one with the water. Let that beat creep and speak into your heart and just vibe. This is the time of our lives.
This is the time of our lives, time of our lives.
Wow, those highlights brought on all the feels. Faizal, did you get emotional too? Admit it, I thought I saw you dabbing your eyes over there.
Well, maybe just a little.
Now, while I couldn't make it to Hamilton, seeing those highlights made me feel like I was right there taking it all in. And those Toronto festival memories came flooding back, meeting incredible artists, hearing their stories, seeing our community come together, and hey, even meeting you for the first time, Faizal.
Yes, Zahra, a moment I will never forget. Now, before we reveal the selected visual artists and filmmakers, let's reflect on what made Illume 2023 so impactful. Last summer, close to 500 visual artists showcased their artwork at regional art galleries across the country. The artists were asked to incorporate the theme of care into their submissions. 58 pieces were selected by esteemed judges to represent their national respective regions at the National Art Gallery held at the Ismaili Centre, Toronto in November.
I remember walking through the National Art Gallery and being mesmerized by not just the caliber of the art, but the diversity of mediums, from traditional paintings on canvas to graphic design and even Lego, photography to fashion, and even art created using artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I agree. Each piece was so unique, it told its own story. I felt like I was transported to the Louvre in Paris. Well, minus the big crowds and the ticket lines.
And now let's hear from the 10 visual artists who will be representing Canada.
My name is Isaac Khwaja. When I was little, my grandfather used to tell me a lot of different stories about when he was little and he lived in the village and stuff. So that inspired me to create this artwork.
My name is Hakim Zavkibekov. In my artwork, I try to show willing dervish in dark background. I try to show connection between the dervish and the universe.
My name is Selena Kassam. It's called Dichotomy, and it's a diptych that represents the way we see care and then juxtaposed with carelessness. The images I chose to represent that have to do with the environment and construction and destruction. The images are not beautiful by any means, but they're meant to evoke thought and a time for pause.
I'm Ashraf Hassan Ali. My work was done with Anam Sajanlal. We worked on our piece, Incineration, together. Our inspiration was care for the environment, and especially we were concerned about species that are going extinct due to human greed and extractive processes. So that's what we wanted to reflect in our artwork, the plight of species that are dying because of human beings.
My name is Walid Ehsan. My piece is called The Sunflower. Through this gumball art, I'm trying to show a story of a little girl who actually embodies those characteristics as a sunflower, because sunflower gives a lot in order to survive. And so basically I'm telling a story of my daughter who's out there trying to help people.
My name is Marina Afsali, and this is my art piece called The Child in Me. What I've done is I've added real photos of my childhood onto my painting, and I've incorporated my painting around that. It represents my love for nature, how I grew up being inspired by nature. Being in the forest is my favorite place in the entire world. It brings me a sense of peace and connectivity to those roots. And when I think of the forest, I think of my family, my love for my family, and my childhood self.
My name is Mehboob Rajwani. My piece is called Elephants in the Mud. We left some great memories coming from Africa, so these animals were kind of in our backyard because we enjoyed them. And I just felt that we got to keep them alive, so I put that in my painting.
My name is Moiz Rupani, and I'm here from small town from India, that is Warangal, and I have moved to Vancouver. So I have done a painting a couple of years ago which stated about the frogs and animals and all. So what I thought, why don't I develop my painting into an actual real life sculpture? Frog was just an example to take to show a living creature that is getting lost in the natural essence.
My name is Amreen Shahzad Hussaini. My piece is really complex, so there are so many things that inspired me. My piece is about spiritual journey and how we as souls, ruhanis, or arus, transform from physical beings to something else into the underworld. And we are welcomed, as we are welcomed here in warm arms of a mother. There's a mother there who's waiting for us on the other side.
My name is Elena Sheriff. I work with Legos a lot, Lego robotics and STEM programming. I thought of making a Lego piece of the Mosque of Mecca so I can inspire Muslims that pray there every day.
Amazing. I'm in such awe of the artistic talent across our community and really our country. Every piece stood out to me, but one was very unique. I found it very interesting to see art created through gumballs. There was Waleed who had done Sunflower, which we just heard about, and you had to use your phone, put it in front of the gumballs, and that was the only way you could actually see the piece. I mean, mind-blowing. Every piece I saw had a unique aspect. That's something that definitely stood out to me. Okay, now on to the films. Did you catch some of the screenings, Faizal?
Yeah, I did. I was able to sneak away from all the hockey action to catch one of the screenings, actually right there, and I was blown away. From music to marathons, physical journeys and spiritual ones, reflecting on the lived experience of humans and even worms. I loved how different all the films were, and each had its own message and story to tell. But I have a major gripe I need to get off my chest, Zahra. Where was the popcorn? I was promised popcorn.
Hey, that's why you pack your own snacks, Faizal. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay, you should know better.
Smart thinking. Last summer, our distinguished judges viewed and assessed over 35 films created by filmmakers across the country. Of these, 13 films were selected and screened at the National Film Festival held at the Aga Khan Museum in Toronto.
The festival featured films across 4 categories. You have reels, shorts under 5 minutes, shorts under 20 minutes, and immersive and a youth category. Filmmakers explored this year's theme of care through their distinct voices and perspectives and presented films that underscored our interconnectedness from our shared planet to personal heritage while igniting conversation on the critical challenges of our era.
6 talented filmmakers have been selected to represent Canada. So let's sit back, relax, and enjoy some highlights from these cinematic marvels.
My name is Farhan Umedali. I'm a documentary filmmaker and educator. I've been working in documentary films for quite a while, and it's the first time I actually share my work with the Jamaat. And I'm so honored that my film, Moyang, Inside All of Us is an Indigenous Heart, was selected for the Global Encounters Film Festival. The film came about because I had won the Kuala Lumpur Eco Film Festival a few years back, and they asked me to make a film, a public service announcement for Malaysia and the world to take climate action. So naturally, I went back to my roots and connected with the Indigenous community in Malaysia. They're called Orang Asli. And they had a message about Moyang, and that's the central theme of the film, but it's about reconnection, all of us individually reconnecting with nature and supporting Indigenous rights.
We must not forget that inside all of us is an Indigenous heart. We are all connected. We all need balance. We need balance to be happy.
I'm so excited to be part of this. I finally feel worthy in my film career to share my work with the Jamaat, and thank you.
My name is Taslim Samji, and I am so honored to represent Canada. My piece is a short film. It's called Conversations with Self. Though it's a short film, it has a powerful message. It's about how we are all interconnected. This piece is inspired by, well, the conversations I have with myself. It's also inspired by the style of Rumi, and once I had the poem, then everything else fell into place. I'm an experimental artist, a spoken word poet, a visual artist, a curator, a storyteller. And so I'm so excited to share this piece with the Jamaat and the community globally, and I just want to thank you for this opportunity. Thank you so much. And I congratulate all the artists who presented work at the various levels. Mubaraki to all of you.
My name is Akil Varani, and I'm a professional visual artist who often integrates public participation into my collaborative art projects. It's one of the reasons why I was appointed as the creative director of the 50 Years of Ismaili Migration exhibition that toured in Jamaat Khanas and Jamaati institutions across the country. And it's also one of the reasons why I was selected for a paid artist residency at the Canadian Museum of Immigration, where I crowdsourced stories of immigration, stories of the immigrant heroes in our lives, and I integrated them into a series of artworks, a self-published book, and an animated film that I showed at the National Film Festival in Toronto. It is my pleasure and my honor for me and on behalf of my family to represent Canada at the Global Encounters Festival. I am really grateful for this opportunity, and I want to thank you so much for your support and for your enthusiasm. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup, and Yali Madad.
There's something interesting that happens afterwards, and to me, the sort of what happens to the next generation is interesting.
All our stories are different and all are legitimate, no matter where you came from and no matter why you had to come.
I wonder what people think about worms. I wonder if they think they're important.
I was inspired to create this film when I found out what the theme was, and the theme for this film was I Care. And so I thought back to my grade 6 science class where we were learning about worms. And before that class, I didn't think much of worms until I learned that they actually have a very big importance on the growth of our environment. And so I used worms as a metaphor to show people watching my film that everything, no matter what it may be, has an importance even though you might not see it at first.
Fellow people of the world, you may think I'm crazy when I say this, but yes, I am a worm.
The one thing I do know is I have a really big passion for writing, and by participating in the film festival, it allowed me to share my stories in a totally brand new way. It's a pretty amazing experience seeing how not very many kids my age have the chance to experience something like this. I'm looking forward to see what happens.
I matter. We all matter. Even I matter.
Hi, I'm Shahid Devji, and I'm the writer, director, and one of the producers of the short film Speak.
Natasha? Is everything okay? Huh? Oh, yeah, Mom, sorry. That's okay, honey.
The inspiration for the film Speak was really based on my personal journey as a Muslim living in Canada. It's something that was probably within me for many years before I actually wrote the script, but really came about when I was struggling as a parent about whether to speak out about what I believed was a peaceful Islam when I'm seeing so many depictions of negativity in Islam in the news. But that decision to speak out being one that might come with consequences, persecution, judgment. And so that was a struggle for me. But when I saw people who were my contemporaries or even younger doing so, speaking out publicly, defending a peaceful Islam, I was inspired to do that as well in a way that felt most comfortable to me, and that was to make a film about it.
Side of the world
that does not mean it doesn't affect us here at our school.
Salam, Natasha. I didn't see you at soccer practice last night.
Yeah, I was writing my speech.
It feels amazing to have Speak, our short film, selected to represent Canada at the Global Encounters Festival. It's something that I've had as a personal goal since the last Global Film Festival. It's something that means a lot to me because I believe that our film speaks to a broad audience of Ismaili Muslims and Muslim in general across the world, and the conversations that come from watching it are almost more important than the film itself. And so I'm really looking forward to bringing that Canadian perspective and having those conversations with the rest of the Jamaat after we screen our film.
So today I'm telling you that I am a Muslim and I'm proud of it. Because Islam is not something I'm embarrassed of. It's not about violence. It's about peace and caring for others. It's about love and it's about forgiveness. That's the real Islam. That's the real me. So, I'm Natasha Kareem and I'm running for class president. Thank you.
What if? Our film was inspired by a variety of different things, one of which being the wild and wacky questions that were asked from children around the world, including children of my own. Questions like,
can Allah hear me? Where do I have to go for Allah to hear me? On top of a mountain or at the bottom of the sea?
So with questions like this, the best way that we thought we could attempt to answer them was through a story.
Dad, if I climb a mountain, do you think Allah would hear me sing?
Fareed asked.
Of course, but you don't have to climb a mountain for Allah to hear you.
Dad replied.
And to bring this story to life, we were very fortunate to work with talented artists in animation and in music, because music, we found, was a vehicle that really helps to bring these stories to life. What If is our second story, our second short film. Our first was entitled How Can I Tell My Mawla I Love Him, which also beautifully incorporated music, animation, and storytelling.
It's a privilege and an honor for our film to have been selected to represent Canada alongside other amazing filmmakers and to be able to share our story with our community globally. It's incredible. And what's special about this is that while it is a children's story, it's not just for children. It's for children and adults, and it's a tool that helps begin conversations and also further understanding of our ethics and our values.
It'll be an opportunity for us to continue growing and exploring and to collaborate with passionate storytellers from around the world.
And a lot of cool things have come out of it. So for example, this animation, it started off as a physical book. And with the book, that turned into the animation. And then with the animation, we realized that we needed music and scoring. So, naturally a song comes out of that. So with this, there come tools that we're able to share with the community and the Jamaat, which has been really special. And being in this space that allows us to nurture our creativity and to hopefully, inspire others to join this space and to be happy and proud of who they are.
I would also ask you to take a look and pay attention to Easter nuggets that are hidden throughout the stories. And this allows for second, third, and fourth viewing opportunities for new meanings, new layers, and a lot of our history, a lot of our tradition reflected back to us. We really hope you enjoy What If. Thank you for the honor of representing Canada. Thank you for your support. Ya Ali Wadad.
No matter where I go, no matter where I stay, I know that you, Allah, are always listening. No matter where I go, no matter where I call, I know that you, Allah, will always hear it all.
Incredible. What an impressive selection of films that will represent Canada on the global stage. And a huge congratulations to all our artists and filmmakers from across Canada for your incredible achievements and representing your region on the national stage. Now, before we sign off, we wanted to say one last thing. Illume would not have been possible without the unwavering support of our passionate athletes, artists, their families and friends, our dedicated volunteers, our generous sponsors, and of course, our amazing audience. It's your passion that cultivates the spirit of community and drives us to continue providing a platform for excellence.
And let's give one more round of applause to all our volunteers whose tireless efforts make events like Illume and this one possible. Let's give a shout out to all the participants, our athletes, performing artists, visual artists, and filmmakers who took part in all the regional and national festivals. This is a wonderful achievement, and we hope that you will all continue to pursue your passions, cultivate your talents, and continue to experience the fulfillment and joy that comes from authentic creative expression.
But let's not forget the community bonds that we strengthened at Illume 2023 are just the beginning. Our brothers and sisters from across the globe will come together for the inaugural Global Encounters Festival, uniting Jamaats from over 25 countries for a showcase of excellence in arts and sports, all while fostering diversity and cultural exchange.
And like Illume, Jamaats from around the world will each host national qualifying festivals. From India to Syria, Australia to Pakistan, athletes and artists are bringing their best, vying for a chance to represent their country.
So let's take a look at some of the highlights of the artists and athletes from across the globe on their journey. cut. That is a wrap. You guys had a good time? Oh, I forgot. I can't really hear you guys. Thanks for watching, everyone. See ya.
That's it?
C'est bon.
So you don't say goodbye at all?
He says goodbye.
You don't say goodbye?
I say no goodbye.
Okay, why don't you do this?
Just do it anyways?
Well, you say goodbye.
Yeah.
And you do a goodbye with it.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay.
So, 3, 2, 1.
Bye.